Hey guys, got another build for y'all. This is going to be Blood Lance. Played a lot of this last season, and I'm really excited to get into it this season. The change to Bloodseekers for additional damage, especially to single target, was very exciting to see. Currently, I'm seeing over 400 billion damage in ads, and it does pretty good against bosses. It's way better bosses than it was last season. It's still underperforming versus bosses, though, in general. You really do want to fish for some ad bosses if you're pushing pits, but overall the damage is incredibly strong this season, and it's really fun. So let's get into it. All right, let's look at the equipment. So first off, we've got Air Perdition. Between this, Starless, and your Blood Moon Breaches, we're going to be able to hit 100% critical strike chance with ease. It helps out with not having to spec into your passives for them, as well as additional roll slots so that you can get more offensive power out of the build. Your secondary you can hit here is Core. The other two don't really matter so much. For our chest plate, we have Mutilator Plate. Your primary here is going to be Maximum Life and Blood Lance. If you can get a GA as well on double chance to deal double damage, that's great. But you do have two additional slots that we're tempering that in to get to 100% chance. For our gloves, we're using Great Feast. And on the gloves, we're looking for primarily attack speed GA, secondary Blood Lance, and then for your third slot, it can be either intelligence or maximum life. For your tempers, we are running blood attack speed and soul rift duration. Soul rift duration is very important on the build so that we can keep up soul rift most of the time during bosses. Our lucky hit chance to reduce the cooldowns with Decrepify is not as frequent on bosses, so the more chance we have to keep soul rift up, the better, so that we get the additional multiplier as well as barrier generation. And of course, essence generation doesn't hurt. For the pants, we're looking for only critical strike chance. I know these are minion pants now, but they are still best in slot for this build. You cannot get a 50% multiplier on pants anywhere else. You could slot in exploiters, but that doesn't do anything for you against bosses. So it's very important to make sure that you get your GA on critical strike chance here. For your boots, we're running exploiters. This is going to help your clear speed on normal trash mobs substantially higher. It's a big multiplier on a utility slot or a defensive slot. In this case, we're going for utility. For your affixes, you're looking for a GA on essence per second. This is going to offset the Great Feast strain. And due to the fact we are running so many uniques in this build, we lose out on all of our armor rolls, so you do need to get armor on your boots. If you can get GA essence per second and GA armor, you're going to be looking great, but you can still cap with your armor with the incense, so you're still fine even if it's not a GA armor. For your other rolls, you can get int or max life. I like move speed because I like moving. For your tempers, again, you want soul rift here. I'm playing around with the additional freeze chance here just for pushing higher pits, but it'll likely go back to soul rift duration there, and then of course move speed. The exploiters is really good because we do a lot of CC with the build for trash, and you get them unstoppable pretty quick. And lances have a huge range, so we don't care if they're running around the map. They're still getting lanced and they're still taking a lot of damage. This is a huge multiplier on these boots. For your weapon, we are looking for intelligence, max life, and then your third stat can be overpower or crit strike damage. I just need to roll mine off. I actually just noticed it making this video that I haven't rolled it yet. For your tempers, you're again looking for blood attack speed and chance for Blood Lance to do double damage. For the aspect, we are using Sacrificial. This is going to boost all of our damage from our overpower as well as our critical strike, and it's also going to increase our resistances with the build if you're a little short. For the offhand, again, intelligence, max life, and I'm currently running resource cost reduction. I just want to see how it feels currently. It feels pretty good. I haven't run into any issues. I probably will roll that off and get a little bit more damage. Don't know yet. We're going to play around with that one. For the tempers, blood attack speed and chance for double damage. And we're using Gore Quills. Gore Quills is really great because it's consuming all of our blood orbs, which is doing several things for us. It's also going to help populate Rathmas, and it also keeps up our blood begets blood. And it's not bad for heals either. For the first ring, we've got Starless. Ideally, you would want the GA on attack speed, but critical strike chance is also good because paired with everything else, you're at 100%. For your next ring, we're using Grasping Veins as the aspect. You want attack speed GA here, followed by int and max life. You can roll, I'm testing this one out. Typically, I would run Blood Orbs Restore Essence But this feels really good in mass combat because you have so much lucky hit chance going off between gore quills and all the lances. But this feels really good. And then, of course, blood attack speed as the other. And we're using Grasping Veins here for the additional critical strike damage multiplier. For the amulet, we have Bloodseekers, and we're looking for multiple passives here with percent intelligence roll. My amulet can have substantially better upgrades here. I'd like to have a Coalesce Blood instead of the max life. But you do want Tides of Blood on this as well. Blood attack speed, and then like I said, we've got the Blood Orbs Restore. And then this is a huge change for this build. We get the additional, while healthy, Blood Lance deals additional damage. This was a change for this season, so it does give us a little bit more single target damage. I do think we need at least one more thing to help with the single target, but this helped out substantially this season. As you see here, I do not have a incense rolling, but when I do use the defensive incense, I am at over armor cap, so you've got a free slot with the defensive one, so it's not a bad thing, like I said, if you do not have the GA armor there. So let's jump into the skill tree. Just jump 2 into your basic as normal. We're going to max out Blood Lance as high as we can get it. And we're going to go down to Supernatural, which is going to give us additional critical strike damage and overpowered damage. We don't need any additional essence, but we do want to grab 1 into Hued Flesh just for additional corpses so we can keep Flesh Eater and Fueled by Death going, as well as having targets for our Grasping Veins. And then 3 into Imperfectly Balanced. We're using Blight like normal for the 20% multiplier here. We do get a little bit extra pool now with the changes, so that's cool. For Blood Mist, we are taking 1 into Blood Mist just to get our oopsies if we get into trouble. 1 into Necrotic Fortitude so that we can keep our barrier generation going alongside of our Soul Rift. Or for bosses, if Soul Rift does drop, we can have the continued duration going, or the barrier duration going. So only 1, it's not that big of a deal, but it's enough to keep it up, the barrier up. 3 into Titan's Fall. This is an awesome new passive. While we're fortified, we get extra damage to elites. Because of the armor situation, we do need to max out spiked armor here. With the changes to Reaper's Pursuit, and we'll get that in just a second, typically we would have run just Corpse Explosion by itself, but now we're looking for as much darkness as we can on the toolbar. So we do just take Blighted Corpse Explosion so that we get the darkness skill. 3 into Fueled by Death because we are consuming corpses frequently, so that we keep that up, as well as the Flesh Eater. 3 into Death's Embrace for more damage, and then I've dumped 3 into Lucky Hit Chance here. Again, just to keep the Lucky Hit Chance to restore essence, all of the barrier and fortification generation, and your corpse generation. 3 into Amplify Damage, 1 into Decrepify, all the way down to Abhorrent for our Lucky Hit Chance to reduce the cooldowns. But remember, we're using Tam Wat with this build, which means we also get the Horrid Decrepify with that rune choice, so we're getting both upgrades to Decrepify cast at the same time, so it's a really great combo. We're taking 3 into Coalesce Blood. Huge change of Tides of Blood here. We get so much of it, so that's cool. And then Transfusion, we're going to make sure we want to get as much chance to create those Blood Orbs as possible. 1 into Corpse Tendrils, going down to Blighted for more Blood Orb generation. 1 into Necrotic Carapace so that we can keep up our Fortify. And then the big thing change to the build for passive-wise this season is going to be our Reaper's Pursuit. Reaper's Pursuit gives us an additional, in this case, 6% damage for each darkness skill on our toolbar. We have 3 of them with this build between Blight, Soul Rift, and Corpse Explosion. So we're getting an 18% damage multiplier from Reaper's Pursuit, as well as we're getting a nice little movement speed increase. We're taking 3 into Finality. We're casting our ultimate every 8 seconds. 3 into Momentum Mori so that we can increase our, in this case, a little bit more resistances for primarily the overpower damage. 3 into Standalone for some DR. 1 into Soul Rift, going all the way down to get all of its bonuses. And of course, we're taking Rathma's Vigor as our key passive. This was a big change for this build this season. We lost the Blood Moon Breach's 150% multiplier, but they gave us 120% back here, plus we kept the 50% from Blood Moon Breaches themselves with the crit damage. So even though they nerfed Blood Moon Breaches for this build, it was a huge increase, having the 120 and a 50. For a Paragon tree, it's the same as last season. There hasn't been really any changes at all to it. First board, we've got Eliminator, Second board, we've got Blood Begets Blood with Corporeal. Third board, we have Bloodbath with Essence. Fourth board, we have Flesh Eater with Sacrificial. And our final board is Frailty with Dominate. Mercenaries, I'm using Subo, going down here to get the Overpower. And then for the other mercenary, we've got Rahir. Alright guys, so that's the build. It's about the same build as last season, but it's stronger. Really had a lot of fun with it. And seeing 400 billion damage pop's pretty cool too. So it's not a Bloodwave build, but I do think it'll probably end up being our probably our fourth strongest build this season. We got Bloodwave #1, of course. Bone Spirit, I am going to be playing around with that this week. I do think that'll probably still wind up as our second or third best build. And then, of course, we've got Blood Spear. Blood Spear is our second strongest build at the moment. Once they fix it, if they fix it, it'll drastically jump to our second most powerful build, and it won't be contested. And then I think currently Blood Lance is probably right in that fourth range. So thanks for watching. We'll see y'all next time.